I had no idea the British press was so bigoted.
This one's wife. £375,000 per day. Thanks a lot. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife believes that she ought not to pay for anything. After all, you should be grateful and beside yourself with joy that she's breathed on you, that she even looked your way, that you should pay for her transport, you should pay for her accommodation, you should pay for her security, you should pay for her food, you should just give her some money. After all, when she was in Australia, she commented, "I can't believe I'm not being paid for this." That is her mindset. She doesn't understand the concept of service. She doesn't understand that being placed in a privileged position means that you give something back by the provision of your time and attention to other people, and you don't get paid for it. Her narcissism tells her that she's so special that the world should be ultra joyful of any involvement that it has with her, and because of her somaticism, this means that she ought to be paid for. This one's wife is used to being paid for. It was the case of her career as an actress. It was the case in relation to the allegations that she was a yacht girl. It's the case that everything she now does as part of being a pseudo-royal, she believes that she should be paid for. And that not only should she be paid, but others pick up the tab for everything that she needs. Nick Pisa, writing in the Mail, tells us, security for Harry and this one's wife's 4-day quasi-royal tour of Colombia cost an eye-watering 8 billion pesos, £1.5 million, local media have claimed. The £375,000 a day cost involved 3,000 police and soldiers, plus helicopters, sniffer dogs, bomb disposal units, and an ever-present guard armed with a ballistic briefcase or bulletproof shield, just in case of a sniper attack. They were invited to the South American country, which is a no-go zone, in parts, according to the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, by left-wing Vice President Francia Marquez, who has survived at least 2 attempts on her life. But the security cost to a country facing huge socio-economic problems, a third live below the poverty line, has enraged many, including the security chief of the City of Cali Council, where the couple ended their tour on Sunday. Writing on X under a report on the security costs by C.W. Narcissist, Andrés Escobar said, "Billions that could have been used to expand coverage of children's canteens, pay salaries of community mothers, seed capital for Afro communities, or adapt sports venues, practically in ruins." The right-wing official also accused Ms. Marquez of squandering public money on her vanity, adding that taxes were spent on rich white people for photo opportunities and social media. In the past, she has been accused of taking helicopters like taxis, although she insists this is because of her own personal safety. Speaking to Mail Online, Mr. Escobar added, "The country paid almost $2 million for the security of this trip, and there are many, many Colombians who are hungry and have a lack of basic needs. They invested this money because the Vice President wanted to meet 2 high-profile public figures and brush aside criticism and problems that we have here through a corrupt government. We are in an economic crisis, and 8 billion pesos have been spent for the visit of Harry and this one's wife. Colombian military planes and helicopters have been used, and the money could have been better spent. Before this current government came to power, they campaigned that they would save money and not waste it, but they have just done the opposite with this visit. Accordingly, harsh criticism of the money that has been spent by a country that can ill afford it, just like Nigeria, on the security costs of this one's wife and Harry. If those two were the kind philanthropists that they claim to be, they wouldn't cause a poverty-stricken country to engage in such expenditure. But they simply don't care. This one's wife doesn't care because her narcissism causes us not to care. Indeed, She wants as much security as possible as a consequence of her paranoia telling her that she's at risk, and furthermore, because it makes her look important. This is why she's photographed walking across parking lots with a security guard behind her, because it makes her look important. Nobody is interested in attacking her, but the fact is, her paranoia tells her that's the case in order for her to ensure that she has a security detail, invariably when she goes elsewhere paid by other people, so that she looks important. Harry, similarly, operates in an entitled way because he's always been used to having security around him, and therefore he knows no different. Furthermore, he falls prey to the poison that is dripped into his ear by his wife about the necessity of requiring security because, after all, there are hordes of middle-aged white women running around wanting to throw tomatoes at them. Escobar also continued by referencing Miss Marquis's reason for inviting Harry and this one's wife in the first place, and said, "The Vice President asked them here because she saw them on Netflix. Can you believe that? How ridiculous. I can't believe she said that. This country could have used the money to invest in our own infrastructure. We are in a bad way, and money is wasted for this." While another councillor in the capital, Bogota, also lashed out at the trip beneath a social media post from Colombia's leftist president, Gustavo Petro, praising the visit. Right-wing-leaning Papo Amin asked if Petro had forgotten about bombs and kidnaps that had hit several regions across Colombia, and a left-wing guerrilla group who held part of the country in an 8-day siege. The visit also took in the cities of Cartagena and Bogota, as well as a brief stop in the village of San Basilio de Palenque, set up by freed African slaves almost 300 years ago. Topics for the faux royal tour included online violence, cyberbullying, mind wellness in the digital age, and female empowerment. However, apart from one event, there was no access to British media, with a lone Sussex-approved reporter from women's fashion magazine Harper's Bazaar providing fawning coverage. Reporters who dared to focus on the security were warned not to do so, as they could be tipping off terrorists, despite the presence of soldiers and police being visible to all and sundry. While some who spoke to a teacher, after being invited in, following Harry and this one's wife's departure from a school, were then kicked off a media WhatsApp group set up by the press office of the Vice President. And because of the massive security, there were no walkabouts meeting people on the street, as each venue was ringed by police and they were driven in and out at high speed in a 14-vehicle convoy. It's led to more questions than answers, with the main one being, what was the point of the trip? Once again, this one's wife's need for her to be seen, so that she can control people and draw fuel from them by way of the reactions, so that she can manage her facade and appear like she cares, results in her causing there to be extensive cost in a country that can ill afford it. Once again, demonstrating how she simply doesn't give a shit about anybody other than herself, driven naturally by her narcissism. Were she not a narcissist, she would recognise that it wouldn't be appropriate for her to go to such a country. But all she cares about is flashing that rictus grin, wearing inappropriate clothing, and being seen to do some salsa dancing. All at a cost of the Colombians of £375,000 a day. I'm sure they're delighted to have spunked that money on this vacuous non-entity. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.